Yo, what's going on, guys? Alex here, back with another video, and today I am bringing you guys my PCL's Main League Season 3 Draft Analysis, my first Gen 8 Wi-Fi League, my first Gen 8 Upload Required Wi-Fi League. I'm super excited to be bringing you guys this. So, little bit of where I've been. I was doing APA Academy towards the end of Gen 7 there, but around that time, it was August. School was starting back up again. I had just gone, like, that whole summer had just been a lot of just mons for me, and I had just been burnt out, and I kind of was like, you know what, I just kind of cut myself off from mons and stuff like that. I really wasn't active on this Discord towards like the middle of August until about like November is when I started being more active again. So yeah, that's where I've been. I dropped all the APA stuff. I didn't like continue it. I dropped all the leagues that I was in, and I just wasn't really having fun with it anymore at the time. Gen 7 had gotten kind of stale for me, so I was really just looking forward to Gen 8. And but now that it's out, we're back with Gen 8, and we have a brand new team. If you didn't see it in the thumbnail and the title, we are now the Milwaukee Melmetals. Shout out to my good pal John Jr. For making that logo for me. He is a really good graphics artist. He does a great job. He also made all the graphics for the PCL this season, so they look super dope. Thank you so much to John. Just in general, he's been like a really good friend as of late to me, as I've gotten back into draft. So yeah, I'm really excited to bring you guys this. Just a couple of rules though about the PCL this season. Seeing it as a Wi-Fi league, the timer is only 20 minutes, so that's going to be really interesting. I actually just had my first battle last night. I did my first battle and recorded all that before I even did my draft analysis. So I did all that. It was really interesting. 20-minute timer is going to be interesting to work around with. So yeah, match is going to be really quick, and I'm also going to be live comming this season since there's no replay thing, which is fine with me. I plan on live comming anyway since I have an Elgato, obviously. So look forward to that. That week 1 battle should be going up sometime after New Year's. And another thing too, Dynamax is allowed. That's pretty crazy to me, honestly. I have my feelings about it, but that's neither here nor there. We are playing. I'm hoping that it is a good thing to like work around. Like it's fun to play with, and it's not as broken as I think it is. Hopefully. We'll see. This is sort of a test season, so I'm keeping an open mind about it. So yeah, the rules for Dynamaxing is that you pick one captain to be your Dynamax Pokemon, and it can only be from Pokemon that are tier 3 or below. Excuse me, and they have to Dynamax turn 1, so you can't set up or anything and all that stuff. You also can't run Life Orb and I think Choice Band. I know Life Orb is a big item you can't run on Dynamax captains in general. Even if you don't plan on like Dynamaxing, you either Dynamax turn 1 or you don't at all. I'm pretty sure that's the rule. Or I think you have to Dynamax if you bring them on. I'm not really too sure how it works. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's if you don't turn 1 Dynamax, you just forfeit your chance to Dynamax at all the rest of the game, which is totally fair. But yeah, so let's hop right into it. We are again the Milwaukee Melmetals. I really like the logo that John made for him. Looking at it right now, it's right in the bottom right hand corner of the screen there. And for our first round pick, we picked Dracovish. So I had second pick overall, and as you can see, to no one's surprise, Galarian Darn went right before me. Sock got that first pick overall, to nobody's surprise. So I still had a lot to choose from. I wasn't really planning on letting G-Darm like getting down to me at all, so I was kind of expecting that. So I went with what I thought was the next best thing at the time. Now I kind of regret a little bit taking this thing second pick overall, because there was still things like Dragapult left, Aegislash, I think Aegislash is allowed, I can't remember. I know Mew's here. There was a lot of other good things, but I wanted to try this thing out since it was it seems really insane, and it is really insane. It hits stupid hard, is like probably the best wall breaker in the game besides G-Darm. Vicious Rend with Strong Jaw, and just Banded in general. It's like band on top of band. Vicious Rend just hits stupid hard. It gets decent coverage too. It can get things like Crunch, Ice Fang, Thunder Fang too, I'm pretty sure. It gets some good coverage. So this thing is definitely, it also gets Substitute. Substitute's a nice move that you can use in it to try and trick up people if you don't want to use Band. You can use something like Expert Belt or Splash Plate or Life Orb. Actually, Splash Plate isn't released in the game yet, but there's another item that does the exact same thing. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways you can run this thing, but most standard, like most of the time, you're either gonna be running Choice Band or Choice Scarf. Yeah, this thing, you guys probably all know what this is at this point. Not really like too much more I could say about it, except that this thing is insane. So we had second pick overall out of 16. So we had to wait 24 picks, I'm pretty sure that's how that math works, before our next pick. So my thought was, hey, I have Dracovish. Why not try and draft a Rain team? So my plan was, if Pelipper makes it back to me, I'm going to draft it. And that is exactly what happened. So we went ahead and picked up Pelipper for our round 2 pick here. Now Pelipper, this thing is really just here for rain support. Also my main, not really bulky water, just kind of main water type in general. At the time, I thought this thing got defog, but it didn't. It doesn't anymore, at least not pre-home. So that's a little disappointing. I was a little upset that I found out after the draft that it didn't get defog, and I was like, oh, that's fine or whatever. But nonetheless, I now have Dracovish and something to set up rain. So Dracovish is going to be plowing through dudes with Fish's Rend. Other things to note, nothing really else to note, actually, now I'm thinking about it. I really just picked this thing up for the rain and defog. It has other uses too, but I figured, hey, if it makes it back to me, I'll go ahead and grab it. So next, we only had to wait 2 picks to get to our next pick. So I was looking at the dock, and I'm like, what's something that is new that I have not tried yet and I want to try out? And I was looking, and I saw that Cursola is there. So that is our next pick. As you can see, Ditto got picked third, or like first pick, third round, which is a little weird, but that doesn't matter. Cursola was my next pick. This thing has an insanely high def stat, an insanely high special attack stat, and a decently good HP stat. Its defense is a little lackluster, but that doesn't really matter too much. This thing can be pretty bulky, and it doesn't need to run any speed since it's base 30 speed. I'm pretty sure Trick Room with this thing is pretty insane. So I was thinking, hey, maybe I can pick up a Trick Room setter later on in the draft and just let this thing go ham. This thing gets like pretty good coverage. Let me actually look at it right now. I have it pulled up. It gets things like gets Earth Power. Obviously it's a ghost type, so you get things like Shadow Ball. It gets Ice Beam. It gets a bunch of other stuff too. It also does get Sub, which is pretty interesting. Maybe using that there. It gets Surf. It gets Scald. It gets some pretty decent coverage. So yeah, not a bad mount at all. And Perish Body, if this thing is hit by a direct contact tag move, Perish Song will activate on that Pokemon, which is pretty cool. So that can force something else or just force it to die. So that is Cursola there. Mainly just picked it up because I needed, I was wanting to get a little bit of bulk on the team. This thing can be pretty bulky. And New Toy Syndrome. So that's Cursola. Next, we had to wait in a whole another 24 picks. And when it, finally got back to me, if it'll go, there we go. I picked up Bronzong because Bronzong is a mon that I have used in the past that is really good. I like it a lot. Steel Psychic, it's very defensive. And it can set up Trick Room for Cursola to basically abuse the hell out of if I want to. So I have 2 pretty solid wall breakers in Cursola and Dracovish right off the bat. I can either run Rain or I can run a Trick Room team or both at the same time, doesn't really matter. Bronzong also gets access to rocks. You guys all know what this thing does. This thing is really bulky. I really enjoy using this mon. Yeah, not much more I can say about it there. Bronzong, just really solid mon. Really good defensive typing. You can run some interesting sets. It does get Charge Beam, which I saw a really interesting Charge Beam set be ran on this thing not too long ago in a Showdown League that one of my friends is in. And this thing just kind of cleaned house. So it can be offensive at the same time. It can abuse its own Trick Room if you want it to. So yeah, that's Bronzong. You guys pretty much all know what this thing does at this point. Next, we only had to wait 2 more picks, and I'm pretty sure, yep, here it is. So I needed a electric immunity because my team, for the most part, especially Pelipper, was pretty weak to an electric type. So I figured, you know what, I already have a bunch of other water types, why not grab a third? and I went with Quagsire. This is another mon that can set up rocks for me. I'm also very comfortable with this mon. It is a really good electric resist. This thing can actually 1v1 a lot of mons. I'm not sure if it gets toxic still. I'm pretty sure it still gets toxic, or just never got toxic and I'm just being dumb. Let me look here. Yes, it still does get toxic. So Bronzong actually did lose toxic, but Quagsire kept it. It gets recovery too. It gets toxic, it's scald, earthquake, the whole 9 yards. Water absorb 2, so I can take on other water types and just switch in stuff like that. I really like Quagsire. I think it's a pretty underrated mon for the most part. I'm pretty sure this thing's like tier 4 or tier 3. I can't remember. They probably moved up to tier 3 now that not a lot of mons are in the game. It was tier 4 for the most part in Gen 7, but even for a tier 4 mon, and tier 3, this thing's insane. Like I think this mon is pretty underrated for the most part. I really like it. This thing is pretty bulky, and it's a really good rock setter, and it can be pretty good at stalling out with its recover. It also gets unaware, which is a really cool ability too. So I can run water absorb or unaware, which are 2 really good abilities in my opinion. So next, I don't remember what I picked next after this. I guess we'll find out in a second here. Oh yes, Slurpuff. So I need a fairy, and I also wanted webs. Now, story about this, I really wanted Hitmontop for a rapid spin. I thought that would have been a great mon on my team. Got sniped at that. I also either wanted Ribombee or Galvantula, because webs with Dracovish is really good. And Ribombee got sniped. I'm like, okay, well there goes my fairy that I wanted. I guess I'll just go ahead and get Galvantula. That got sniped, and I'm like, dang it, where the hell did all the webs go? And then there was Orbital, like that little fucking octopus looking, you know what I'm talking about, that octopus looking Pokemon, you know what I'm talking about. That thing has webs. That got taken like round 2. I'm like, okay, so I figured, hey, I don't have a fairy yet, and I also don't have my webs that I really wanted, so figured why not grab Slurpuff. This thing isn't too bad. It did lose Belly Drum, so it's not nearly as good as it used to be. But for a web setter, it's okay. It gets the job done, and I did need a fairy. It can be bulky. It can tank a little hits, you know, but I did also just want a fairy type in general, because not having a fairy type is bad. Mainly getting this thing for the webs. Webs with Dracovish can be pretty insane. So yeah, we have 2 rock setters and a web setter at this point, so hazards are looking clean right now. The only thing is my removal is lacking because I don't have Pelipper now. Or I do have Pelipper, but it doesn't have defog. Again, I wanted Hitmontop, but that got sniped to me. Shoutouts to Star for sniping like 3 mons that I wanted this draft. I also wanted Galarian Mr. Mime, but he sniped that too. So he sniped 3 mons of mine, and Lux, who I'm actually in call with right now, he's in the same call as I am while I'm doing this. He sniped me over Ribombee, so I got sniped a ton this draft. It was great. But hey, Slurpuff gets webs, gets what I basically wanted to do. Next we have Ludicolo. So keeping up with the rain team here, figured I'd grab Ludicolo. This thing is tier 3, and after the draft, when we were making our Dynamax captains, I figured, hey, why not make this thing my Dynamax captain? It can hit pretty hard, especially in the rain, and since it can set up its own rain, this thing is going to be pretty insane. So I don't necessarily need to bring Pelipper every single week. I feel like I'm going to be bringing Ludicolo like literally every week. For me personally, if you don't bring your Dynamax captain, or if I don't bring my Dynamax captain, I'm automatically putting myself at a disadvantage, just because Dynamax is stupid strong. I don't think there's any reason you shouldn't be bringing it like every single game. And if I can abuse the rain with Ludicolo and Dracovish at the same time, figured why not. At the same time, I can't run Life Orb on Ludicolo. Now, that's not that much of a problem because Dynamax can be doing a lot of damage anyways. So I can honestly, I don't even need to run Rain Dance on this thing, because when I click a water type move that is in Dynamax, it will set up the rain for me. So I can run something like Damp Rock on Ludicolo, set up the rain there, get 8 turns of rain, claim a kill or 2, or get a big chunk of damage on a bulky Pokemon with my Ludicolo, and then switch out into Dracovish afterwards, and just clean up from there with Vicious Rend. It's pretty nasty combo. The only problem is I already have 3 other water types on my team, so I may consider dropping Pelipper, because I don't necessarily need it to set up the rain. I can do that with Ludicolo. And since I think I'm going to be bringing Ludicolo like most of the time anyways, because Dynamax is stupid strong, I think I may trade Pelipper after this draft or after like week 1. I'm not sure. I'm considering it. Not too sure yet. I don't need 4 water types, and since Pelipper doesn't get defog, I don't know. But yeah, so no removal so far yet. So hopefully we'll be getting some of that soon. But not this pick, because this pick I went with Pangoro. Now Pangoro is another really good wall breaker for me to have in my team. I didn't have a dark or fighting type yet, and this thing filled bulk rolls. Not too much to say here. I haven't really used this thing yet, but I do know this thing can just break through things. Base 125 special attack is nothing to sneeze at. It also gets Iron Fist, so I can be running stuff like Drain Punch, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, all the coverage and all that stuff. It did lose knockoff for some reason. I don't know why. It just lost knockoff. Don't ask me, ask Game Freak. But still, this thing hits insanely hard, and it's got pretty good coverage. And yeah, not much more to say. That I did consider making this thing my Dynamax Pokemon, but it does like to run the odd Life Orb every once in a while, and not really too many other moves, or not really too many other items. Other than that, it also likes to run Choice Band sometimes too. So yeah, Pangoro, really solid, just wall breaking mon. Next up, we have Cinccino. My team was looking a little bit slow. I really honestly grabbed this thing just mainly for the speed tier, and so I can have some momentum going in. It does get U-turn, and it also does get knockoff, unlike Pangoro. Yeah, I don't know why. So this thing I don't really know too much about. I know that it just helps my speed tier out insanely well. I'm pretty sure this is my only thing. I can't remember the speed tiers of certain mons off the top of my head, but I think this is my only mon that is above base 100, or even like, you know what I mean. I don't think I have any other mon that's even at base 100. So this did help with my speed tiers a little bit. Plus, a normal type is a good thing to have in a team. I think normal types are kind of underrated, in my opinion. And yes, Cinccino just looks like a cute little Pokemon. You know, I just had to grab it. It's some good low tier values, so I thought, why not? And for my last pick of the draft, I really needed other removal other than Pelipper. That was my thought process at the time. Obviously, I know now that Pelipper doesn't even get defog. So I wanted to get a Pokemon that had removal. So I picked up Swoobat. Now wait, you're saying, Alex, this thing also lost defog. And yes, it did. And I didn't know that at the time, because it's pre-home and it doesn't have defog yet. So I'm kind of scared. I have no removal. Swoobat I may consider dropping for Noctowl, just because Noctowl still gets access to defog, but this thing doesn't. So I kind of screwed myself in my removal. I really want to Hitmontop. I think Rapid Spin is like really good this gen because that speed boost that it gives off. But I have no defogger. I just have no removal in general, so I kind of screwed myself. But a little talk about Swoobat. Honestly, I haven't really looked too far into Swoobat. Let's see what this thing can do. It does get Unaware, which is a fun little move to have. It does get Calm Mind, it does get Substitute, Stored Power, which is also really cool too. It gets Charge Beam as well too, which is pretty interesting. I'm just looking at it because I never really looked at this thing's moveset before. It does get Screens, which setting up Screens could be really nice, and it also gets Momentum, I'm pretty sure. Still in Gen 8. Let me see here. Yeah, it still does get U-turn. So this thing isn't completely useless. It actually is a pretty solid Pokemon for like its tier. But you know, it's a Swoobat, so what can you really do with it? So yeah, I think my draft is pretty good. That's the draft, by the way. That's the whole team, 10 Pokemon. I had a lot of fun drafting this team. I'm really looking forward to this season because it's gonna be interesting. I already have my first battle, so I know how that went. You guys will see that in like a week or two, probably after New Year's. But yeah, so I like my team. I think it's one of the better teams on the roster. Dracovish and Rain is pretty insane. That's gonna be my win con for like majority of my matches, just because not every team has a good bulky water or water absorber. Literally after I drafted Pelipper, I think everyone just started picking up a bulky water and a water absorber like immediately the round after. So I was like, oh, okay guys, and they counter drafted me hard because I can't remember what else I wanted. I'm pretty sure Quillfish was also like on my list to get instead of like Ludicolo. Like Quillfish would have been nice. There's other mons that I'm trying to think of that I wanted that got sniped, but yeah, so I got sniped a lot this draft, but I still think it turned out pretty good. I got some good bulk going here, and I have really good wall breakers in Dracovish and Pangoro. And my Dynamax Captain Ludicolo, I think, is one of the better Dynamax captains for the tier 3 value that it is. And, you know, we're just going to assume that Pelipper and Zubat both get defog, and I didn't mess that up, and I'm just going to say I have good removal, but in reality I don't. So, that is my draft analysis for PCL Main Season 3. By the way, I didn't even talk about the fact that I went from D-League to Main League. I was the only coach to go from D-League to Main League, so shoutouts to Austin and Sock and all the admins for basically bringing me up and pulling me up to play with the main boys. I've had a lot of fun this season thus far. I've met a lot of really cool people through it, or at least I've met most of the people that I'm already playing with. Which, by the way, all the links to all the coaches' channels will be in the description below. I've met most of them before, but I haven't really gotten to know a lot of them, but now I'm starting to know a lot of them, and they're all really cool people. So, if you guys are excited for this season of the PCL, please make sure you like and subscribe to my channel so you can stay updated on whenever I post the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.